Okay.
So you can give an introduction and keep starting off.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Gentleman's Gazette, November 8th, live here with Kyle at the Gentleman's Gazette studios. I'm happy to be here. We're going to jump right into the first question here, okay? So the first one, let's see, says, you bring a really interesting perspective to the Gentleman's Gazette, rounding out the fairly conservative and formal styles of Preston and Raphael with a more casual point of view. I really appreciate. If you were put in charge of the next talent hire for Gentleman's Gazette, what perspective would you want them to bring? What do you think is missing? Good question. Kind of a multi-question there. If I was put in charge of the next talent hire, I don't know. Let's see. If we're gonna round out the spectrum of styles here, maybe we could bring some early 2000s emo punk or something. I don't know. We can just mix it up a little bit. I think that having somebody like myself, who I shave my hair, to have a bald head, tall African American gentleman. I think having somebody maybe who is even of another ethnicity would be interesting to see. I think seeing somebody of a different body type would be interesting to see too, and how they kind of manipulate things within classic style and make that work for them in their own perspective would be interesting to have on the team as well. So that's something I would be liking to see. Number two, if I had to dress in men's clothes from any other era other than today, what would I choose? 19th century Edwardian, 1920s, 1930s, etc. I can also pose this in terms of time travel, if I want. Okay, it's kind of cool. I would say something between maybe like a 1920s and 1930s style would be interesting to see how I would look in that. I don't know how I feel about the high-waisted pants up to my neck necessarily, but I do think that certain elements of how they dressed back then are certainly influencing how people are dressing today still. I do enjoy, how certain things have lasted over time, but the pleated pants and the high-waisted pants probably not going to work for me. Let's see here. Let's see, what do we have next? Okay. If I needed to be going formal, but I could only choose exotic colors, what would I choose? Let's see. Because of my skin tone, I would probably say something along the lines of an orange. It's probably not going to work for too many outfits, but it's an exotic color to me. Some kind of a yellow, some kind of an orange would pop really nicely, but doing that and maybe like a tuxedo would be very unconventional, but it will certainly look cool. So I think that'd be kind of fun. Let's see. It says I have a more modern style than Preston and Raphael, what made me interested in the Gentleman's Gazette team, as it typically attracts gentlemen of an older generation. So why more fashion forward, and why blend with an older mindset rather than my own channel about modern sartorial attitudes? Well, as I've said in the past, and I think I'll probably keep saying it, I've definitely been influenced by classic menswear, and I have an appreciation for it, even though I don't dress like that hardcore all the time, in the same way that I enjoy modern menswear, but I don't dress like that 100% of the time. I like to mix things up a little bit. So I didn't have a problem, having an audience that was maybe of an older generation. That doesn't bother me. I've certainly had a lot of clients that I've worked with in the past of varying ages and perspectives and how they like to dress. So it wasn't unfamiliar territory necessarily. And in terms of why I don't have my own channel focusing on modern menswear, I feel like there are a number of those already out there right now. So I'm not saying I wouldn't ever do anything like that down the road, but it's certainly not something that I feel is needed from me right now. So, but good question. Any advice on what to wear with a polo shirt and dockers and corduroys when it's chilly? I've never found a jacket that seems correct. Got a lot of options there. If it were up to me, I'd probably do something. It depends on, probably your personal style, your body type, and how you like to wear clothes in general. So that's probably something I would ask you. But not knowing that, I would give some options and say maybe like a Letterman's jacket if you're trying to keep it really casual and almost kind of preppy. If you like that style, but you feel like that maybe looks too casual, you could do a more neutral bomber style. Even maybe like a wax cotton barber jacket or something like that would be quite kind of nice as well too, and kind of cover some different age ranges there. So even a denim jacket could perhaps work as well too. So I'd try maybe one of those and see if they work for you. Let's see. Coming up next. Okay, outside of the Gentleman's Gazette, what are some of the things that I do recreationally? Do I play any sports, or do I have any particular hobbies? Let's see. So I enjoy working out. I enjoy photography. I enjoy discovering new music. I love to travel when there's not a pandemic going on, so I'll probably be doing that more as things get back to normal. What else? I also like trying different restaurants and just kind of exploring and seeing, what else is out there outside of my normal bubble and what I enjoy doing on the regular, my normal routine. So trying different things, but I like exploring. But for sure, I would say weekly, it's always working out, and I do enjoy, discovering new music and photography for sure. Let's see, next. With so many businesses now still having employees work from home, and if before COVID we wore suits, is it okay to wear the jacket alone as a type of sports jacket for an informal evening out? Hate to waste beautiful clothes by not wearing them. Thank you. All right, so I completely feel like I'm in the same boat as you. I have found a lot of clothes that I can't wear because there's no place to go. It's pretty irritating. And I can definitely feel the itch of wanting to wear something so you don't feel like it's going to waste. So technically, it's not an ideal thing to do to wear a suit jacket because there are certain differences between a suit jacket and a sport jacket. But if you are really wanting to go out and do that in an informal setting, it's not the end of the world. You can get away with that. So you feel like you've actually got your money's worth of at least part of that suit. I understand that feeling. What watch do I have on? Okay, let's see. So I'm wearing a $10 million, no, I'm just kidding. It's a Hugo Boss watch I recently picked up. So it's got a green face, silver band, pretty standard sizing. But I like it. I like the silver just because it goes with more of what I wear. I do more silver than gold. And I like the green just because it pops a little bit more than something in like a blue or a plain silver face to me. So what is my favorite accessory? I love a good pair of sunglasses, and if I can find it, the occasional really cool men's chunky ring or something like that, like this one I picked up a couple years ago. Finding different things that are more unique to me, but that still flow within how I like to dress is certainly something that I like to pick up. But of course, a good pair of sunglasses that goes with just about everything is certainly probably in my top 3. Let's see here. As an employee of Gentleman's Gazette, am I required to dress up all the time as a representative of the company, or do you have leeway to wear what you want when I'm off the clock? Well, when I am on camera, I certainly do like to make sure that I am, in flow with, how the channel is and the perspective of how we present things. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to me to completely go the opposite direction and wear something that's obnoxiously casual and obnoxiously all fast fashion or something like that on this platform to me. So when I'm off camera, certainly I do maybe manipulate that a little bit more, even though I don't mind wearing things how I would on camera from time to time. You can also find me in athleisure. You can also find me in something a little bit more lax and casual too. So I'm all over the board. Let's see, next. Just in general, what do I think of tweed? I like tweed. I think that I like to make sure that it's the right color of tweed for me when I'm wearing it. But I do like it. I like the way that you're able to manipulate it with other kind of earth tones and make a full outfit and make it look really warm and seasonally appropriate. So I like tweed personally. So if you're not allergic or have any issues in that department, I would say go for it if you're curious. How and when did I get into men's fashion? And what advice do I have for people just getting into it? So I've always been into men's fashion. I guess I could say it didn't really happen as something that I was trying to create or trying to get into. It just kind of happened. I've always sort of been somewhat exposed to it in some regard. And then as far as my first retail job, that happened when I was in high school. So I've been doing this and being around menswear for some time. Certainly things are much more lax with where I was working at the time then. And then I moved into, some higher end products and things like that. But the exposure and, understanding fit and function and how things work with different materials has been something that I've been able to be exposed to now for some time. So that's how I got into it, was through retail. But if you're trying to get into it, I mean, there's certainly a lot of resources now. YouTube alone has a plethora of things. There's a lot of books, a lot of different people you can look to. Raphael, of course, at the Gentleman's Gazette website as well, too. So tons of resources out there that will tell you how to get into things, kind of how to start and kind of how to find things that work best for your body type. What is my opinion on Ralph Lauren wool teddy bear sweaters? I get the hype and I get why people like them. It's not for me. I feel like, I personally, I'd be missing like a pacifier or something. It's a little bit childish, but I get why people like it. But you won't catch me wearing that sweater on this channel. So I'm not going to do that. What's my favorite fall fragrance right now? Designer and or niche? Ooh, well, I just actually put on something I picked up earlier in the year, but it's a great fall scent to me. It's from Diptyque. It's called Tempo. It's a really great scent. They have a really great array of different scents, actually. So if you ever have the chance to check some of those out, they're fantastic. Favorite TV show? It's tough. That is tough. Let's see. I'm currently kind of juggling between Foundation on Apple, 55 different things on Netflix, and kind of just for like mindless humor, Lower Decks. It's a kind of adult animated show about Star Trek. That's through, I think, CBS. So it's pretty funny. So there's a bunch of different things that I'm kind of juggling through right now, but I'm all over the board. I like a lot of different things. But usually comedy is a good one, and mystery shows, always a lot of fun. I know me and my family, we loved Monk when that was on. That was a fun one. So, but all over the board with TV shows. How often do I get an opportunity to wear a tuxedo or full formal wear? Currently not too often. My day-to-day life doesn't really call for a lot of red carpet events, so not too many tuxedos being worn these days. But I would look forward to occasionally putting one on at some point. I think they look great. It's a very polished look when worn properly and when worn correctly. So looking forward to it in the future. Awesome. So we've got Yak Diesel who sent us $1.99. Thank you so much for that, Yak Diesel. I look unusually casual today. I pull it off. I'm glad I met your approval, Yak Diesel. I was hoping I could do that for you, so I'm glad I met your approval. What are my opinions on varsity jackets and how would I wear them? Okay. I like varsity jackets. I think that there is a way to properly wear them in a casual setting. You just kind of have to find that right way to do it. Like, are we going for a preppy streetwear style? But there are ways to do that. I personally don't feel like they fit my specific look, so I don't ever pick them up. I don't like the way they hit me. I don't like advertising necessarily one particular team or brand or whatever. It's usually pretty loud. If that's kind of a part of what you're trying to accomplish, or you're going to a sporting event, or that's just how you like to dress, by all means go for it. It's just not for me. But I do understand why they're very popular, and I think that there is certainly a great way to be able to manipulate them and incorporate them into a more casual outfit. How many shoes, how many jackets is too many, in my opinion? It's never too many. It's never too many. No, I think that if you're trying to be more of a minimalist, having probably 2 pairs, I would say, have some good quality brown, black shoes of your favorite sneakers, if you will, loafers, so that you don't kill them all. You've got some backups there. I don't think it's necessary to have 8 pairs of like red loafers. Like, how many times do you need to wear those? But entirely up to how you like to dress. For me, when it comes to jackets, I'm probably not going to be the best person to ask because I just collect them like they're going out of style. So overcoats, blazers, jackets, if I can find them in my size. I just found some others recently that I have no business in buying, but I probably will eventually add them to my collection. So those, I'm not the best person to ask because I'll just collect them all the time. What does a gentleman like myself... Where does a gentleman like myself go on a first date? Well, I would probably say I would like to do a really nice restaurant, something that's quiet so you can actually hear yourself and the other person talk and think. We don't have to shout across, the table. And I think movies are probably great too, but I would say probably a nicer restaurant is probably what I would say to that. How old am I? How old am I? Do I want to answer this? No, it's not that bad. I'm 34 at the moment. If you thought I was younger, thank you. If you thought I was older, it's not cool. It's not cool. Why do I have such a preference for slim-fitting clothing? I would say I think that I am always big on wearing things that fit you appropriately and that kind of highlight areas that you want to highlight. And so if you're somebody who likes to exercise and you want to show that off a little bit, I think it's cool to be able to pull that off if it suits you and your body type. So sometimes I miss the mark. Sometimes I think I hit it right. But I also feel like wearing things that are bigger than me make me feel and look like I'm, 3-4 times my size. That's not the goal here. So I think in the same way, somebody who's maybe smaller likes to wear things that are bigger because it makes them feel bigger. Maybe my wearing things that are slimmer makes me feel like I'm a little bit trimmer. I don't know, but that's what I usually go for when it fits and when it's appropriate. Sports watch, like a diver watch, on a bracelet with a suit. My personal preference, yes or no. I would probably not do a sport watch with a suit. I would prefer seeing something more elevated, something metallic, and that doesn't have too many different bells and whistles, quite honestly. So it's a little bit more simplistic and clean. That's more in line with the suit itself, right? Like, we're not diving off the boat in the suit. So we'll probably want to wear something that's a little bit cleaner that's going with the situation of where you're wearing it to. That's just my perspective. If you want to wear something that's, look like it's been taken off of the boat itself, and put it on your wrist, and that's what you're into, by all means. But I would say something that's a little bit more sleek and more in line with what the suit actually looks like. Do I like thrift shopping? If so, what's my best find? And cheers from Rome. Wow, cool. Glad to see you from Rome. I do like thrift shopping. I found probably more misses than wins when it comes to clothing for myself. But I have found some really cool designer suits and jackets from time to time. Occasionally the really unique men's accessory or pair of shoes has been found. So I've been happy to find those. But you really got to dig, especially if you're not a more everyday size, right? So I'm a taller gentleman. I've got larger feet. So you've got to do a little more work to probably get those. But when you can find them, it's great. How can I wear tweed without someone asking me if I'm a college professor? Probably going back to a little bit of what I've said in the past of just making sure that something fits you appropriately, especially since tweed can sometimes look a little bit thick, and you don't want to add extra bulk, especially if it's fitting inappropriately, as if it were too wide or over your shoulder. It probably looks a little bit more slouchy and probably will age you a little bit as well too. So getting something that fits appropriately something that you can maybe modernize just a little bit and not have it look too mature, will be a healthy way to probably incorporate that a little bit. So if you wanted to wear that tweed jacket with a turtleneck, and some slim jeans and boots or something like that, might be a way to adapt that without making it look too old. You could try that. Have I ever heard of Tailor Store? I've never heard of Tailor Store. I'm sorry. I'm curious what that is now. I'll have to look that up. Do I have a watch collection? And if so, what's in it? And if I want one, what pieces would I have in it? I don't currently have a healthy watch collection. I've got to beef up the watch collections. It's kind of bad right now. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that everything is so digital. So if I'm going to the gym frequently and I've got my phone and I've got like an Apple Watch or something like that, and that's tracking all my information, I usually am just going to naturally keep that on all the time unless I have to wear something that's a little bit nicer. And because of that, I don't buy a lot of other watches that probably are going to be in line with, non-sporty, non-casual Apple Watch type situation. So I need to get some more. But in terms of what I would want to get to in that collection, I do like Rolexes, of course. Who doesn't? I've seen a few pieces from, I hope I'm not butchering it, but Breitling. So I've got expensive taste. If you want to donate one, by all means. No, but I think those for sure are on the list. There are others that I can't think of at the moment right now that I've seen in passing, but those are two that come to mind. Do I have any tips on styling a black dress shirt? Boom, look at this. See? Beat you to it. No, there are ways to incorporate a black dress shirt. I would say, what's the setting? Does it call for a black dress shirt, first of all? And if you're going to wear one, try to have other things on that will help liven up the outfit just a little bit. So today I'm wearing like black and white plaid pants, black and white sneakers, the black shirt. It's all kind of cohesive, as opposed to maybe doing this and like a black suit jacket of a different material where the colors don't match and it looks like you're wearing 27 shades of black. So that kind of stuff is a little weird. So you want to stay away from that situation. But at the same time, you also maybe don't want to have like lime green pants on with this. Like that's too big of a contrast. So there are ways to do it properly. I like keeping it kind of monochromatic like I'm doing today. That's one suggestion. You could do black and camel. You could do black and cream. There are ways to do that. If you're wearing the black shirt, you can maybe find, a camel jacket and maybe a black pant, and then your jacket's the pop of color and everything else kind of falls into the background. So there are ways you can kind of manipulate it. Depends on what your style is and what works with your skin tone, where you live, of course. Maybe if, talking to me from Florida or something like that, maybe you don't want a jacket on, but there are ways to incorporate other colors to kind of give yourself a little bit more to work with there. How do I wear a suit casually? And do I just feel like wearing one sometimes with absolutely no reason? And if so, do I? So how to wear a suit casually? I mean, I think it probably is going to come down to the type of suit that it is. To me, maybe a full three-piece suit isn't where I would go mentally when I say wearing a suit casually. I think that incorporating maybe a different kind of shoe would casualize it. I think skipping your tie, incorporating a great pocket square from Gentleman's Gazette / Fort Belvedere would be a great way to casualize the suit a little bit and just dress that down from the tie. I think that, you could always adopt even a different kind of shirt, perhaps a light sweater, maybe a polo shirt or something like that. Do I ever do that? Do I ever wear a suit just because? Not too often, just because what I do from day to day doesn't really call for me to have that on like that. But I would say when that's not the situation, I'm certainly more than open to it. And I think that when, more of those opportunities arise, I'll certainly, wear things like that more casually. But at the moment, I don't really do that. What is my favorite style that I appreciate but would never wear? Well, it's a little tough to answer. What style do I appreciate but I would never wear? Well, I can kind of keep my ongoing beef with pleated pants alive here and say I don't like pleated pants. I appreciate what they do for people who need to wear them. They look horrendous on me. I've tried them again recently, and it was confirmed that they will never be in my closet. No, there's that. I think also too certain modern styles that that people will adopt. So right now everybody's really into dressing like it's the 90s all over again. I don't get it. I can appreciate it. I don't get it. So, yeah, I won't be dressing like the 90s again. As a bigger guy, do I still experience frustrating large armholes that plague modern retail? Large armholes. Personally, not really. It's not been a problem for me. If anything, sometimes they might be too short. But I think it's all about how you're built. So for me, with my back and shoulders, when I put something on, I mean, I recently put on a suit from a slim fit designer, and it was what should be my size. And they changed it on me. No, it's because I grew. And it was looked like saran wrap, right? So my entire arm was hanging off of the shoulder pad. It was pretty bad. So I don't have that problem. If anything, it might feel like it's too short, but that's, again, just how I'm built. It depends on how you're built and where you're shopping. So if you're shopping in a place that maybe is going to lean more regular fit and relax, I see your point. If you're shopping in a place that's a little bit more trim and modern, then it's more of what I've been dealing with probably too. So what advice do I have on the relevance of a double-breasted suit? I'm a big fan of that style, but I don't want to stand out too much, or don't I stand out too much when I wear one? I love double-breasted suits. So again, it's going to be a biased answer here. I think that they're relevant. I think when cut appropriately for your body type. So just like any other garment or suiting garment, if you put something on that doesn't fit you appropriately, it's going to look weird. So if you put something on that's cut to your shoulders and your back and your waist and everything, then it's going to look pretty good. I also think that I enjoy them because I'm a taller gentleman and I'm a little bit broad, I guess you could say. So for me, getting something that's got the button placement just so that kind of gives me that little bit of a V-taper that much more, I enjoy that aspect. I think that they're relevant. I think that if you don't want to stand out too much, you can certainly stay away from certain colors that would make you stand out too much. Maybe staying away from extremely massive lapels and go for something maybe a little bit trimmer. Going away from certain pocket placements that are overly inward cut. Things like that are probably going to draw a little bit more attention because they're kind of elevating this V shape to you a little bit more. So if that's not what you're after, keep it neutral with color, keep it neutral with your buttons if you have that option, if you're having one made, and stay away from things that are probably going to make you stand out. Let's see here. Do I have any tips on styling a Henley? Sounds like maybe a cheap answer, but just get something that fits. If it fits huge and oversized, or if it's too short for your waist, or if it's too long in the sleeves, if you're someone who's shorter, things like that are going to stand out and it's going to look a little bit off in terms of fit. So getting something that fits nice and clean in the chest and shoulder, that's the right length in the torso and in the arms, and if possible, getting something that's not too blousy in the stomach. If you want to invest the money, you could always have something like that tailored because they're not probably going to custom make it just for you from the designer, so you might need to have something like that tweaked. But if you can find a brand that gets you to hit those chest and shoulder measurements and the length properly, and it's got a nice amount of stretch to it, so that it's kind of clean and laying on your body nicely, I think that that's probably the best fit. And I like that because then you can throw on a light sweater, a denim jacket, multiple layers if you wanted to, and it doesn't kind of frump up and look really bunchy under your other clothes. Okay, next one says, greetings, Kyle. Do I have an opinion as far as wearing cowboy and western boots as a formal item, or is it casual? Being from where I am in America, that's not something that I see too often. I know people do it. So I would initially have a reaction of saying that looks a little casual, but if that is more in line with where you live, I could see why that's something that is worn. And in that case, if that fits the aesthetic of where you live, by all means, and go for it. But I personally find it a little casual. I don't think it would translate to every situation and every setting if you had to jump on a plane and go somewhere else, right? So I think that things like a classic cap toe or something like that is probably going to translate a little bit more with a suit. But if you want to wear cowboy boots, wear your cowboy boots. Any favorite watch brands? Well, as I've said in the past, a couple questions ago, I don't have an extensive collection right now, but I have seen a few pieces from Rolex that I do like. I've been watching in the past Producer Michael on YouTube and a few other people too that are showing some extremely inexpensive watches for like $10,000+, you know. So those are kind of fun, but would I ever have those specifically in my collection? I don't know. I mean, I might get a little nervous about wearing something like that out of the house, but I think when I get more knowledge and kind of explore some different brands, I'll have a better answer for you. But right now, probably just more generic things like Rolex. Have I seen a resurgence of blazers and suits with boxier fits lately? Yes. Have I noticed this, and what do I think of it? I don't like it. I don't like it. As somebody who likes things to be a little bit trim, if you don't need it to be boxy, I don't care for it. Not that everybody's checking in with me before they leave the house, of course, but I just don't understand why you would like to look like you don't have any shape. But if that's your jam, go for it. I don't care for it. I'm ready for the trend to go away. What's a common menswear garment that I don't like? Common menswear item that I don't like. You know what? I'll say because they don't fit my head, because I'm really, really smart, so I've got a really big head, certain hat styles. So there's a lot of hat styles that I see guys wear that I think they're great. I can't wear them, so for that reason, they're on my do not like list. But probably a variety of hats, so like fedoras or beanies or things like that. And I'm sure if I were to talk to somebody who's a specialist, they could give me some tips on how to get to the right one. But in general, it's been a little bit tough. Who is my favorite coworker and why? Is it Raphael? Well, you know, maybe I should say Raphael since he's the boss here, right? No, everybody's great here. I think I like everybody equally. I don't have any issues with anybody. They've been extremely welcoming from day one, so I enjoy working with everybody here. Any big ticket items that I'm saving up for and on my wish list? Got a long list. So yes, but I would say shortly, there is excuse me, a really, really cool leather coat that I found online that I'm saving up for. Recently bought one. Now I'm trying to get ready for the next one here. There are a few pairs of boots that are on my list from a company out of California, and I think they have their shoes made in Spain, if I'm not mistaken. And what else? What else? There's a few other things, but I have to say that is what immediately comes to mind. What are the top 3 or 5 guidelines or rules I would give to an underdressed average Joe that knows nothing about style to get them started? Not to sound like a complete broken record, but I would say, taking the time to kind of just look in the mirror and see what you look like and understand like where you carry your weight, what's your skin tone, are you short-waisted, do you have long legs, you know, kind of have an idea as to how you are shaped, so you're not immediately swayed in the emotion of shopping. You kind of know what to look for and what to stay away from, and then getting your measurements together, finding out who maybe inspires you in terms of style and how they put themselves together, and if you can talk to them. If it's somebody who's afar and you don't have access to them, working with salespeople in your local stores who can kind of give you some tips to dress for your body type and your size properly. And if you're feeling you're not getting the right answer, you can always get 2 or 3 opinions and kind of see, which way they're leaning in terms of their information. But once you kind of have a foundation of how to properly dress yourself and know what colors to go for, I would say the big thing that gets a lot of people stumped is not knowing the right fit and what works for their skin tone and things like that. So once you find out those pieces of information, what works for your measurements, then you kind of know where to go. And then from there, we can direct you to places like, of course, the website here, Gentleman's Gazette. And there's a ton of information on there, tons of information on the videos that we've covered over the years that kind of give you some tips as to how to best dress yourself, if you're curious about that. But I would say that getting that initial thing out of the way of just understanding what you look like and what works for your body type is going to really help you. What is my favorite pair of sunglasses? I really like an aviator. I would say I like a couple different styles, but that has worked for my face shape in the past pretty well. Regardless of brand, I tend to go for that one more often than not. What is my go-to or favorite off-the-rack brand of trousers? It's probably going to be a mix of just everyday stuff, probably from like a Banana Republic or something like that. Just a slim fit with a little bit of stretch if there's some in there. And some kind of a chino style would probably be my go-to. Aside from that, a good quality denim that fits well, that's going to last well over time. Excuse me. There's a number of other places that I'm probably going to be wanting to try in the future, but those are the 2 that come to mind at the moment. Have the producers of James Bond reached out to me yet? No, I don't know why. I don't know why. I clearly am the candidate for the next movie. Clearly. So I don't know what the deal is, but no, they haven't called me yet. So I'll let you know when they do, right? Hey, Kyle, can I be overdressed or too formally dressed? Thanks. Okay, so yes, it's possible to be overdressed. And it's possible to be too formally dressed. So, I think, again, you kind of have to know where you're going and the situation in terms of how you're trying to dress. So that will help you maybe kind of shift gears a little bit in terms of casualizing or dressing up what you're trying to do so you don't run into that issue as much. If you're still not sure, we can always talk to maybe someone you're going to XYZ event with. And see, in the past, have they seen people wear this, that, and the third? So you kind of know how to put yourself together that much more. But it's more than possible. I've seen it happen. I've done it myself. So how often do I go to the gym? And is it possible to look cool as Kyle without going to the gym? Thank you for that. It's kind of a toss-up. I would say it's probably 4 or 5 times a week for me. And is it possible to look as cool as Kyle without going to the gym? It's more than possible. Yeah, it's not a requirement. There's plenty of people that find other ways of exercise. If you're a walker, if you're a runner, if you like to swim, if you like to do, I don't know, bungee jumping, I don't know, whatever it is you like to do. There are plenty of other ways you can, stay active. But going to the gym is not, a requirement necessarily. So, what do I think about sneakers and suits as a combination for everyday casual life? This person really enjoys seeing them mixed together, but they find it complicated to wear, and they're wondering how to do this. So, and they say, thanks, I'm such a fine man. Well, thank you so much for that. I like sneakers and suits when it's the right suit and the right sneaker, if that makes sense. So, for example, I wouldn't wear a tailored, modern-looking suit with those really chunky, marshmallow-looking shoes. I don't know what the best description of them is, but like those really chunky, heeled, thick shoes that add another half of a foot to your feet. It's just a lot. A lot going on there. That doesn't make much sense to me. So you want something that's kind of in line with the same aesthetic of your suit. So for me, kind of a dress sneaker or a leather sneaker or something that I would like to see myself or others, go for. And you want to stay away from maybe things that are a little bit too sleek and too sporty looking. So if it looks almost like a borderline bowling shoe or something like that, that's also something that's probably not going to sit too well with your suit. So finding something that's nice and clean, minimalistic, so that the suit is able to stand on its own, but the shoes are a little more casual, but they kind of flow in some capacity with the suit, is probably more of what I would suggest. What clothing items do I wish would come back from the past that haven't been revived? That's a tough one. I don't know. I mean, there's been a lot of reviving going on. Maybe not on the mainstream, but in general, I mean, there's a lot of people who are trying to just wear everything these days. So I don't really know how to best answer that, especially for something that I was actually looking to see myself wear. My mind always goes to some kind of a coat or outerwear piece, and I feel like of what I would want to see, it's already kind of there. But if I'm missing something, please let me know. Like Preston and Raphael, do I have a black tie ensemble as well? I, at the moment, don't, because number one, even though it's on my list of things to purchase, I keep changing sizes, and I don't want to invest too much in that if I'm going to not only be able to wear it for 5 minutes. That doesn't make a lot of sense, but also too, if I don't have too many places to wear it to. So when the event becomes current and I need to wear it, and I've kind of settled in where I want to be size-wise, and I'll certainly, go ahead and pick something like that up. But at the moment, I don't. This person just moved to Minnesota, and it can get pretty cold around there in the winter. What are my winter footwear suggestions? Water-resistant boots all day long. Whether it's a pair of Hunters for when it's just, fall, or some full-blown, like, day after tomorrow, apocalyptic, like, winter boots. Just get them. You'll be happy in the end. Regardless of brand, I mean, things that are going to come up your calf a little bit more, so you don't have any seepage of moisture coming into your foot, especially in those days where we have maybe some tall snow or big puddles or something like that. You don't want that in your feet. So something taller, maybe something that's fur lined even, but something water resistant is for sure a necessity. What other tips for incorporating classic pieces into a more modern outfit? Okay. Well, I think we can probably look at, your pocket squares, cufflinks, classic watch styles, classic shoe styles that aren't really going to go out of style anyway. Or are we maybe, talking about a more classic inspired suit or something of that nature, and then incorporating it with like a casual or more modern shoe? So there's a couple ways you can kind of manipulate it. I think it's easier to probably change the accessories to something more classic on a more modern outfit than it is to take a classic outfit and put on something more prominent like a shoe style that's not matching because it's too modern to me. So I think focusing on accessories is probably going to be an easier way to do that. So keeping in line with like a classic, again, cufflink style, watch style, ties, pocket squares, things like that are probably going to make a little bit more sense to me. What elements of modern style do I feel is better than classic style? I don't know about better, but I certainly enjoy, excuse me, the fit, in particular for shirts that are just going to be a little bit cleaner and a little bit less full of excess fabric than it was maybe in a more previous generation of whichever one you want to think of. But fuller shirts never really sat too well with me. I remember working in a place where we would sell shirts like that. And anytime the wind blew, it's like you had a parachute on in the back of your shirt. So I don't miss those types of things in that regard. I think more modern shirts are a little bit more my speed, but I wouldn't necessarily say that that makes it better. On the other hand, which element of classic style... Oh, hold on. I think I did this one already. Nope, no, I didn't. Which element of classic style is better than modern style? Okay. Because I like overcoats, I'll talk about that. So a more classic inspired overcoat, for example, like I like to wear a military inspired coat or something of that nature. I enjoy that than something that's extremely Tron-esque, futuristic, and it's got all these weird random zippers and places that you don't need. I mean, that kind of stuff is a little annoying. So in that regard, I like something a little bit more classic inspired. Again, I wouldn't say that makes it better. It's just something that I find makes more sense and is a little bit more timeless. What's my opinion on incorporating vintage military pieces into a look? I love it. Definitely suggest everybody give it a shot. If you've never done it before, of course, make sure that you're taking off any insignias or what have you that showcase any kind of work you did not earn to have that badge on there. But no, I mean, I think you should definitely give it a shot. I think it's a really cool way to kind of give a different twist to an outfit. But like anything else, there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. So just make sure you're not overdoing it. But definitely give it a shot. What is my favorite outfit? That is a loaded answer. So I don't think I have one favorite outfit. I'm somebody that when traveling, for example, I've got to pack like the earth in my suitcase just because I never know what in the world, I'm going to want to do. So it's tough to say what's my favorite. I like things that fit well, and I like things in neutral colors that give me a lot of different options. So in that regard, that's what I like to have incorporated in a favorite outfit, but I couldn't really say what one specific favorite one is. So I'm sorry. How has my involvement with the Gentleman's Gazette impacted my life in terms of any goals and things I appreciate? Working at Gentleman's Gazette has definitely helped me to see a different side of what it's like to work within social media, within YouTube, what kind of work it takes to make videos like this possible. So I have a completely different appreciation for it. Definitely feel a little bit more comfortable now, having been able to be on this side of things and kind of come out of a shell a little bit more than what I used to be. Still not, 1,000% comfortable with everything, but certainly much more than I used to be. But I definitely can see myself, doing something like this in some capacity down the road. So in that sense, it certainly affected, what kind of goals I had going into it. I knew I wanted to do something within social media, something that involved menswear. Wasn't really entirely sure what. So this has certainly helped expand what I can see is possible and how, much work it takes to make it happen. So I think that's great. I'm great. Well, thank you, whoever said that. What do I think of the safari jacket? I think it would totally suit me. Suit you, suit me. Okay, so it's going to suit Kyle. That's great. I think the safari jacket is great. I have seen them in the past. I like them a lot. I haven't seen too many options in person that I've tried on that hit the way I kind of want it to hit. So I think a lot of the brands that I've seen online, if I can ever go to one of their showrooms in a place like California or New York or something at some point, definitely will be all over it. But I agree, I like them a lot. I think that I will definitely add one to my collection down the road, but at the moment I don't have one. Considering Raphael remade his scarf tying video, would you make a video on dressing for a date? I can certainly do that. I will have to let them know that that's something that people would like to see, and I can certainly ask, and we can go forward in the future and maybe do something like that at some point. Let's see here. How would I want a suit? I'm sorry. How would I want a suit if I could get one a bespoke. How would I want one? How would I want a suit if it was a bespoke suit? I think is what they're saying. I think it would definitely have to be a question of whether or not I am going to do an upteenth double-breasted suit, because I'm obsessed with those. But definitely something that's going to mimic a kind of Tom Ford-esque super wide lapel, and in that sense I probably would go double-breasted. Trim, where it suits me appropriately, and then in terms of color, probably a navy blue, maybe another pinstripe. I might pick another random unconventional color, but I feel like having a blue or a gray, for example, are going to just carry a little bit more opportunity for me to be able to wear it. So I'd probably do one of those two colors. No cuffs, no pleats. But I could probably see myself, as I'm talking out loud, doing another double-breasted jacket. So we'll see if that happens. What length would I recommend? I'm sorry, do I have any bespoke suits? Not full bespoke suits. And again, because my size has been changing over the years a little bit here and there, I'm about 2 sizes bigger in a suit now than I was a couple of years ago. So I'm glad I don't have one from back then, because I would have been very upset having spent thousands and thousands of dollars on something that I could have only have worn for 5 seconds. That to me would be very irritating. So once I kind of solidify where I am physically, then that's something that I can probably entertain a little bit better, but not at the moment. What would I recommend for hemming? What length would I recommend for hemming jeans? Seems like the current trend is with a no break and on the shorter side, but will this trend last long? So I don't mind. So in terms of hem on any pant, but denim in particular, I know that's your question, I would say look at the diameter of the pant. If it's a wider leg, you can probably get away with having a fuller break. If it's a little bit more narrow, you're probably going to want it a little bit shorter, because the longer you make it, it will just always puddle over your shoe, which is, if it's a slight break, it's a slight break. But if it's aggressively long, it just looks like you have an accordion at your leg. It draws your eye downward and makes you look shorter. So I don't think it needs to be high water short, but it definitely needs to be short enough where it's appropriate for the diameter of the leg opening. And in terms of if I think that's going to last much longer, things ebb and flow in style. So we're seeing a resurgence of pleats. We're seeing a resurgence of wide cuts and, different waist heights and things like that again. So I don't think it will last forever. It'll probably be around, but I don't think it'll be such a driving force like it is now. So everyone talks about big guy style. I'm a big guy. This person says, I'm a 52 regular sport jacket, blazer, etc. Everywhere only carries up to a 50. Am I doomed? No, you're not doomed. I think you need to probably take a look at where you're shopping, though. There are a number of places that will go much bigger than that. Now, if you're talking about off the rack in terms of physically in the store versus what they have to order from their warehouse, or do they have to have it made separately, that might be a different conversation. But there are a number of places that will, some in store, but definitely for sure online, expand that size range for you a little bit. But ultimately getting things, I would say, made is going to probably be giving you more options. So if you're very specific in what you're looking for, and you're saying I want a lime green jacket with blue giraffes and all this kind of stuff, you probably aren't going to get all those options in that tough of a size, unfortunately. But you might want to look into either looking online, and looking at having things made. So that means you're probably going to have to plan in advance when you're having to wear these garments, so you have the time to have things made if that's the route you want to go, because sometimes it takes a number of weeks or upwards of like 2 months. Are there any style items that I wish are there any style items I wish would work on me but don't? Yeah, there's a couple. I would say, because I'm tall, things that hit really short and kind of cut in at the waist in terms of jackets, like bomber jackets, I tend to stay away from time to time unless they kind of hang low. And I don't necessarily want to buy them in a long, because then it draws the eye down and it makes it look like my, legs are shorter and my waist is longer. So it's a little bit weird, but those don't always work. Hats, I sometimes have trouble with. Trendy things that are geared for people really trim or really slim, or we just have a more petite nature to them. It's tough to find sizes as well too sometimes, and if you can't find your size, it doesn't necessarily work with your body type, so that can sometimes be frustrating as well. What is my opinion on large men's boots and them being worn publicly in more settings, even formal ones? This kind of sounds like the previous question about cowboy boots and suits a little bit, but depending on what style of boot you're talking about, if it's a casual boot like a Timberland boot or something like that, that's not too much of a problem. I don't think. It's become more of like a casual look over the years, even though it is technically a boot. Even more of like a work boot looking style. Or are we talking about kind of a thicker leather, almost like a motorcycle type boot or a Chelsea boot? So it depends on maybe what we're talking about here, but I don't have a problem with it with regard that it makes sense for wherever you're going and it works for your outfit. So if that all makes sense, then I don't think it's going to be a problem. All right, guys, so it looks like we are almost done here, but I thank you so much for everyone's questions and for taking the time to view this and to ask me different things. It was a pleasure to be able to be here for you today. We've got some new double-sided scarf designs in our shop, at FortBelvedere.com. And they just put a video out on scarf knots too. So that way when you get your scarf, you know how to tie your scarf. It's going to look fantastic on you. That way you can, look great in all your Instagram pictures too. So if you guys have any more questions about anything going forward, please add them to the comments. But it was been a pleasure, and hope to see you guys again next time. Thank you.